In the digital age, we don't just live our lives, we curate them. For Mia Vance, her life was a 4K masterpiece, a perfect sequence. To 3 million followers, she and Leo were the gold standard. But in August of 2025, the frame began to freeze. It started with a frantic plea from a desolate road. "I don't know where he went. We had an argument. He just left." To the police, it was a standard missing persons report. A hiker lost in the vast, unforgiving wilderness of Wyoming. But the audio tells a different story. Listen to her breathing. It isn't the jagged breath of panic. It's rhythmic, rote. As the search intensified, the digital trail began to feel off. To the internet, this was a mystery to be solved, a trend. To those trained to look past the filters, it was something else. Mia's grief wasn't just performative, it was tactical. She was building a defense, one upload at a time. But every edit leaves a trace, every filter has a limit. Deep within the metadata, a hidden truth was waiting to be found. Behind the lens, the perfect relationship had become a prison. Now the camera she loved would become her primary accuser. This is the profile of a killer who vlogged through the carnage. A study in how fame becomes a motive for the unthinkable. And the moment the simulated life finally collapsed into reality. Welcome to the interrogation of Mia Vance. This is the simulated life.
Detectives began by tracing Leo's digital footprint. It was a cold trail. On August 11th, his phone emitted one final ping, then silence. Yet for the next 3 days, Mia's feed remained vibrant, active. She uploaded a candid photo of Leo staring at a sunrise. To her followers, it was a beautiful moment. To forensics, it was a lie. Analysts extracted the EXIF data, the digital fingerprint of the file. The photo was taken 72 hours after Leo had vanished. Mia wasn't just posting photo, she was backdating a ghost. While police followed the data, the internet followed the pixels. A viewer in Tokyo was watching Mia's Day 45 livestream update. They noticed a 3-second glitch in the rear view window. In the reflection, a shape began to emerge from the shadows. It wasn't the equipment, it was a pair of bound hands. White industrial zip ties tightened against the skin. Mia was smiling at the camera, chatting about her morning coffee, all while a captive was struggling just inches behind her head. The Wanderlust dream was officially over. The simulation had cracked. Detective Miller now had the what, she just needed the where, and more importantly, she needed Mia to stop acting. Gas station footage from August 10th provided the final nail. Mia wasn't buying hiking gear, she was buying restraints. The argument she described to 911 hadn't happened yet. She was already preparing for the disappearance of her co-star. Every like she received was fuel for the fire. A community of millions had become unwitting witnesses to a slow-motion execution. Mia Vance wasn't mourning a missing boyfriend. She was directing a horror film with the ending was already written. She was vlogging over a body that hadn't even gone cold. The digital curtain was falling, and Miller was pulling the cord. The investigation was over. The interrogation was about to begin.
What leads a person to integrate a homicide into their content calendar? Forensic psychologists point to the performative parasocial trap. For Mia Vance, the true self had been entirely consumed by the avatar. Every emotion was a curated asset, every tear a deliberate choice. Leo was no longer a partner, he had become a prop. And in the world of high-stakes influence, props are replaceable. When he became a liability to the narrative, he was simply removed. Her behavior following the disappearance was chillingly anomalous. She continued to tag his handle. She replied to "Where is he?" comments, all while his remains lay less than 50 feet from her tripod. To Mia, the crime wasn't the murder of a human being. The true crime was the potential for her brand to fail. She viewed the blood on her hands as a lighting problem. Her supply came from the validation of millions of strangers. The more they sympathized, the more she felt she was winning. It is a pathology born of the digital age, a simulated conscience. Behind the filters, there is a profound, echoing emptiness. She didn't just kill Leo, she scripted his exit. To her, the investigation was just another season of her life, a plot twist designed to keep the audience engaged. But reality doesn't have an edit button. It only has consequences. As the profile deepens, a terrifying truth begins to emerge. Mia Vance wasn't hiding a monster. She was hiding the fact that there was nothing there at all. October 2025. The room is cold. The cameras are recording in 1080p. Mia Vance sits in a bright yellow hoodie, a visual plea for innocence. She is crying, but watch her eyes. They are bone dry. She is waiting for the detective to play the role of the sympathizer. But Detective Miller isn't interested in the script. She has the data. She doesn't lead with the body, she leads with the glitch. Miller knows that for a narcissist, the greatest threat isn't prison. It's being caught in an unedited, unflattering moment of truth. The photo slides across the wood, a digital ghost in the glass. The moment Mia sees the bound hands, the influencer mask vanishes. The sobbing stops instantly. The performative weight drops from her shoulders. Her voice drops an octave. The breathy, high-pitched Mia is gone. What follows is one of the most chilling admissions in forensic history. She doesn't deny the zip ties. She doesn't deny the struggle. She complains about the technical difficulties of his final moments. The lighting was wrong. I told him we had to redo the shot. In Mia's mind, Leo wasn't a victim. He was a bad employee. He had ruined the perfect aesthetic of her Wanderlust narrative. This wasn't a confession of guilt. It was a confession of priority. Murder was simply a necessary edit to keep the story moving. The detective finally sees the true self behind the filter, a void where empathy should be, wrapped in a yellow hoodie. The lies have collapsed. The simulation has finally reached its end. The hunt for the body is over. The hunt for justice begins.
The trial lasted 3 weeks. The verdict took less than 3 hours. Mia Vance was sentenced to spend the rest of her life in a cage. The court found that this wasn't a crime of passion, it was a production. Her search history revealed the truth, how to monetize a tragedy. She had planned the grieving influencer arc before the first blow was struck. She hoped the blood of her partner would propel her to new heights. In the end, Mia Vance got exactly what she wanted. She became the center of a story the entire world watched. But as the cell door closes, there are no cameras, no filters. There are no likes in the clinical reality of a state penitentiary. We often ask how someone could do this to the person they love. Perhaps the answer is simpler and much more terrifying. She didn't love Leo. She loved the way he looked in the frame. He was an asset, a prop, a means to an end. And when the frame changed, so did his value. The simulation is over. The reality is all that remains.